They were not coming in to say, this is why Apple is number one. These are fun stats. Here are our fun infographics. But they've always positioned the product as, here's how the product will change your life and your day to day. And that's what I hope institutions and more corporations start to adopt. It's less about the stat, and we're selfish people. We don't care about your stats. We want to know, what is your product going to do for me and how is that going to make my life better? And I just think we've gotten away from that.
Hey, welcome to the Higher Ed Storytelling University podcast, a show where we bring together Marcom leaders from both inside and outside higher ed to give you fresh perspectives on successful organic content creation and strategy in higher education. My name is John Azzoni. I'm the founder at Unveiled, a video production company working specifically with colleges on their storytelling and commercial video content. You can learn more about our work at unveiled.tv. That's UNVEILD. And if creating content that resonates emotionally with your audience is a priority for you, then you need to be subscribed to the Higher Ed Storytellers Digest. It's my weekly newsletter where we cover a lot of ground about content creation and strategy in higher ed. So sign up for that for free at unveiled.tv/newsletter. All right, let's get on with the show. All right, my guest today is Dr. Dérecco Lynch. Dérecco has led units across the main campus and both two-year regional campuses, also large publics, HBCUs, and Ivies. His work spans higher ed and industry, from positioning Brown as the #1 pre-college program in the world to leading company-wide campaigns at tech giant Salesforce and starting his own startup. Today at Cincinnati, he's scaling their mission through strategic engagement and branding, leading UC to become the second largest public institution in Ohio. So, Dr. Dérecco, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always funny hearing those intros. I'm like, wait, that did happen. It seems like it was so far away, but glad to be here.
Yeah. So I came across you on Allison Tercio's podcast, The Application, and started following you on LinkedIn maybe, I don't know, a month or so ago. And you've posted some bangers since then. And so I always appreciate people that, higher ed marketing leaders that actually understand how to use LinkedIn, because it frustrates me to no end when we have marketing leaders that are treating LinkedIn still like it's 2010, and they're just like, here's this blog post that I wrote.
Go read it.
So kudos to you on your content. For our listeners, go follow Dérecco on LinkedIn, because he's a great follow. But you were talking, there was one post that I came across that was about the Apple keynote address that was, by the time this episode comes out, we'll be a few months removed from this. So,
right.
So,
we'll be preparing for the new Apple keynote, but still.
They've probably developed a new camera in the phone. The next one's going to have like a 5th camera lens or something.
Right.
But yeah, you had this post about connecting higher ed leadership and vision casting to, how they ran this keynote event. And I thought that was really interesting. And there were several points in there that I felt related really well to this podcast that I resonated with. So I'm excited to talk about that. But before we dive in, I always like to start on a tangent. So tell me about something that people might be surprised to know about you.
Oh, that's a good one. I would say people are really shocked that I am an introvert. All I want to do is be at home, watch Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and just chill. And I'm very shy, but nobody never thinks that. But I think it's the higher ed type A. Like, higher ed forces you to be type A, especially in recruitment. But I would say people really don't know that I am a big shy introvert.
Interesting. That I would not have pegged you as that, but I'm exactly the same way. I mean, my parents are shocked that I host a podcast. They're like, this kid can talk. Because I'm just like, I'm the type of person where, like, you could be my long lost brother. We were separated at birth.
Yep.
And I recognize you in the grocery store, and I will go to the other end of the store because I don't want to make small talk with you.
So, funny story. That's like me taking out the trash. If I take out the trash and I see like four of my neighbors are also headed towards their garage, I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna wait until everybody pulls off. And then I'll go get my trash because I don't feel like having a conversation outside today. So
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, there's always the couple of neighbors. I used to live in this neighborhood where there's a lot of older generations that have been there for their entire lives. I mean, some of these people were
Yeah.
like born in this house and inherited it. And there was this one old lady that lived a few doors down, Janet. And God, if she caught you outside, you're done. For the next 30 minutes, she's going to tell you all the same stories that she's
About
told
the
you
house.
before. She's gonna tell you how her husband or her dog was. It's always dramatic stuff. I'd have my kids were toddlers at the time, and I'd be on a walk with them, and she'd be like, "Yeah, don't touch my dog because he was abused as a puppy, and they used to hit him with a
Oh
hairbrush." And I'm like, just plugging
no.
my kids' ears.
Like, do not listen to this.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so take us to the keynote. So what struck you about it? And for people, I don't know, for Android folks, I guess, out there that don't know or care about an Apple keynote, every year Apple does this big event where they launch their latest tech and kind of show off, what's coming in the next version of the iPhone and whatever else. So it's always a big to do. So take us to the 2025 keynote here. I think they released the iPhone 17. What was it that struck you about this as you were watching it?
Yeah, so I've always watched the keynotes, and of course, my favorite was when Steve Jobs used to do them. I feel like Apple is losing a little bit of its innovation, but hopefully they can get a spark back. But really, what I've always appreciated about all of them is they were not coming in to say, this is why Apple is number one. These are fun stats. Here are our fun infographics. But they've always positioned the product as, here's how the product will change your life and your day to day. And you really start to noise even out that it's Apple, and you start to zone in with, wow, how can I FaceTime my granny now and talk to my granny more often? Or how can I now manage my whole lifestyle in a mobile device on the go? But they really challenge you to see yourself using the product, whether it's the MacBook, whether it's the watch, keeping track of your heart rate so that you can stay healthy. And if you're not healthy, it calls the cops. But instead of it being so product heavy, it's really about, here is how our product can change your life. And that's what I hope institutions and more corporations start to adopt. It's less about the stat. And we're selfish people. We don't care about your stats. We want to know, what is your product going to do for me and how is that going to make my life better? And I just think we've gotten away from that. And I'm just happy that Apple still holds on to that mission of, here is how the product can change your life. Here's how we're going to activate the world, get the world excited. Here's how we're going to roll it out. We're bringing in different people across our company with different expertise to speak to certain things. So you're not just hearing one boring person for an hour and 30 minutes talk about a vision. So those were some of the things that I think they're still holding on to. And even this year did a good job at still bringing the product into your lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that they do that too. And it's really, I feel like the whole ethos of Steve Jobs was just like, it's not like, what was the thing that people always quote? It's like 1,000 songs in your pocket,
Yep. Yep.
when the iPod came out, where it's
iPod came
like,
out. Yep.
this is how it's going to be used. Higher ed
Exactly.
loves to talk in higher ed jargon about, their internal. I was just talking to just coming out of a meeting with someone, just we were just chatting about that very thing, where it's like higher ed, builds their websites around like their internal structures as if students care who
Uh,
the academic advisor of dean of this is and what his
yes.
history is. And
Yes. And I'm like, I am painfully laughing with you because I kid you not, last week, that's what we were in a meeting about, because we're moving away from our website being structured like an org chart and moving into the student journey, into the customer journey. And you would have thought we were like blowing up someone's country by saying, we're not going to do this like an org chart. But it's funny that, again, like you said, people are still just higher ed thinks everyone's a part of our world, and they don't realize the disconnect with the consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. Student and alumni success stories. You want to be doing more videos like this, showcasing outcomes from your student and alumni, but you're not. Why? Well, you probably know it's one of the most effective ways of communicating your school's value to prospective students, according to just about any Marcom leader you ask, or like fancy infographic you look at. But until now, you didn't know that it could be easy. You might have visions of the logistical nightmare of coordinating video shoot after video shoot and managing the firestorm of emails, trying to align everyone's schedules and all that. But what if all you had to do was find the stories to tell and hand them off, and then compelling videos just magically appear in your inbox? Here's how our storytelling subscriptions work. We're going to batch film a year's worth of student alumni stories. Could be faculty stories, any kind of like human story over the course of a handful of days of production. And then every month, drip out one of those stories plus a whole package of additional videos repurposed from that month's story to fill your content calendar with across the entire year. When it's all said and done, you're going to have 132 polished branded videos. And here's the icing on the cake. We're going to give you all of that B-roll and raw interview footage. So you can use that however you want at no additional charge, like, trust me, a lot of other production companies would likely charge you extra for. So learn more at unveiled.tv. And if you want to talk more in detail, you can book a call with me, John, right there on our website. Okay, back to the show. Before we get too far into, I realize I forgot to set up the actual post that you made so we can kind of frame the conversation. So,
Yeah. No, you're
so
good.
I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you said, the Apple keynote is today. Higher ed can take notes. Visions don't spread by PDFs and memos. They spread by activations people can feel. And then you listed 7 tips. So 1, don't confuse the visions. Anchor to 3 simple pillars. Precede the message. Tie every employee goal to the pillar. Host a campaign day. Make it interactive and celebrate wins. So had to just set that up because I think like 90% of people just listen to this in the background while they're doing dishes or something. So, but anyways, my next question is related to that. What do you mean by activations that people feel?
Yeah, so it was really sales. Again, I always saw Steve Jobs do it from a far away standpoint, but I will say, working at Salesforce, I really got to see how the community not only activate the internal team, but also activate the world. And one thing that I appreciated is we would have a company kickoff, and the CEO, Mark Benioff, he would drop his vision for the year. He would help us understand his vision for the year. He would tell us why these are our big bets and why this is our priority. And more importantly, how we're going to change the customer's impact in the world. And then from there, there's many activations per each team, where now each team is talking about how does your role and the work that you do tie into what our company goal is, and really activating everybody around the vision so they're not just reading a PDF and then throwing it and never looking back, but having intentional conversations with what is your role in this big picture? Let's zoom out and then let's zoom all the way in. And then from there, now you cascaded it throughout the whole company. Now let's go activate the community. And it's that same concept of how do we just show up to a park with our staff, with our people, and let's just get people excited. They don't even have to buy anything today. But if 100 more people know what Salesforce is that didn't know what it was 5 minutes ago, that's the larger win. And it's activating people, getting them excited, not only around the vision, but around the product. So that's kind of why I say that, like, you have to fill it. We're tired of just getting a long email that you sent to campus that's the size of a dissertation about what your vision is and what the priorities are. We have questions we don't understand. And a lot of people, and I know presidents hate when I say this, people don't see themselves in the president's vision. And a lot of times people think the president's vision is actually disconnected from actually where the institution is headed. And I think if we activate people more around the vision instead of just sending an email and a PDF, they'll start to see themselves in it more. And they'll start to take a stake in the vision as well.
Yeah, that's great. I said someone commented on one of my LinkedIn posts that like presidents this was a long time ago, like presidents create a vision that they wish students or they gosh, I can't remember. I'm butchering it, but it's like no matter what the student actually wants, the president's vision is kind of like what he or she wishes the students would want because that's what makes sense in their mind.
Exactly. That please tag me in that because I need to. But that sounds about right.
So on that point, your first point in your post was don't confuse visions, and talking about the president's a tagline, maybe works for donors, doesn't necessarily work for students. If you have a successful like student framework or a student success framework, it's not going to resonate. So tell me a little about that. Where have you seen this go wrong in the real world?
Yeah, so I will be honest, and I love UC, love us dearly. But UC, I think we are a great example. We hired our new president, Dr. Pinto, and his vision is next lives here, and we love it. It makes sense. But when you think about, my thing is if I have to ask, what does that mean? That means there's a slight disconnect. And when I think about next lives here, to me, that is very corporate driven. That is very donor driven. That's very alumni driven. We want everyone to invest in the next, is kind of where my mind goes. But as we've morphed and as we evolved, we started having conversations around what does it mean to have a forever, to be a Bearcat forever? And that evolved into Bearcats for life, which is something, regardless of where you fall at the institution, whatever role you fall at, you can get behind. Yeah, we're bear. I'm in this for life. I'm a Bearcat for life. And that's where we have just started to see momentum shift. Even this year, the homecoming, it's the homecoming theme now because they've adopted it. More offices are adopting it at scale. It looks good in social media. They're saying hashtag Bearcats for life
Mm,
because they see themselves in it. And I also think we do a horrible job of there's always a president's vision, but what is the framework to actually drive the excellence and drive the student impact? Yeah, you can have your vision, but now how do we operationalize it? And then how do we get people built into it? I think that's the most important part, again, of seeing themselves in it. But that's that thing where it's like you just said, a president, yes, we love your tagline, we love your campaign, and we love your ideas, but let the marketing folks do what they're good at, which is marketing to the consumer and all stakeholders across the board.
if you're a president listening to this, bless your heart. That's what you gotta say in every meeting. Just that's a great idea. Bless your heart.
That part. And Pinto, if you're listening to this meeting, I swear, Mr. President, I respect your vision.
Yeah. If anybody's hiring, comment down below.
Right.
But yeah, how do I think there's a lot of fear in challenging the president's vision,
Yeah.
and there seems to be just this like if the president asks for something, we just drop everything and we do it. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. I've seen this, with I was talking to a marketing director from a state school there. They recently had centralized their marketing team, and she had a videographer that they were doing great work together for that sub school of the
Hmm.
university. They plucked the videographer out, put the videographer on the central team, and now that person just follows the president around to all these dumb engagements that they're speaking at, which make no sense to film. They're not going to do
Right.
anything with it. It's just all for posterity. It's just complete waste of a person's salary. And there just
Yes.
seems to be that like just this reverence, but like too far of reverence for
Yeah.
for the president. So how do you navigate those maybe disagreements or with people have different ideas? Like how do you say this doesn't make sense?
Yeah, and you're right. I think we have definitely gotten into an era where there's a lot of yes people, and I don't know if that's fear, if that's the climate, but I think we do need more of some more courageous leaders to push back. But what I've been sharing on campus, even with us, is hey, somebody can tell one AVP no. It's easy to tell one AVP no, this is not a good idea. But if all 16 of us are aligned, and 16 of us walk into a room and say that we're aligned around this is the best decision, you can't look 16 people in the face and
Yeah.
say, this doesn't make sense. So that's what I challenge even us internally is like, hey, before we pitch something up to the top, let's make sure everybody's aligned who needs to be aligned. Do we have an
Mm.
executive sponsor? Who's bought into this? What is the faculty voice of this? What's the administration? Have we even reached out to parking to make sure, even down to the parking, that they have an opinion in this? And then let's align on this is what we want to do. And let's present up a point of view. I think oftentimes we try to come in with our feelings that, Mr. President, this doesn't make sense. It's not cool enough. They don't understand that. They need to, like, Mr. President, this is how we can drive revenue with a great brand strategy that connects versus your brand strategy that specifically evolves around your orbit. So I just think alignment helps a lot. The more people and the more champions you can create, the easier it is for y'all to push back. But if you go in there solo, you're gonna be SOL. More than likely you're gonna be SOL.
Yeah, I think about my first job out of college was working for a big nonprofit, and we would do outreach to people who are unhoused in Detroit. And that's where I first learned about the term business case. You have to make a business case for something. And it irritated me to no end because I'd be like, we should do this. Like, we should just do it. And then my boss would
Yep.
be like, well, make a business case. Like, what? And I'm like, well, I don't want to stop and think about this. Like, let's just do it. Yeah. And like
Yeah.
I was so naive about, and then like about how corporate structures work, and I would go to like the IT guy and I would be like, we're all on PCs here. I think we should all be on Macs because this thing has a virus. It doesn't work very well. And
Work. Yeah.
he's like, that's cute. That's cute. Like, you just think one 22-year-old kid is just going to be like change the entire organization
Yeah.
nationwide to
Yeah.
Mac to MacBooks.
But we need that drive though. Even though you might have hit a lot of rock walls, that's the drive we need and continue to need.
They eventually fired me, and I could see why. I think I was pushing back too much. But so your next point is, the anchoring to three simple pillars. When developing a campaign. So tell me about that. What happens when the message is too complicated?
Yeah. And I forget what the research is, but it's proven that humans, we learn and memorize things in threes. If there's three things, it's easier when you make a decision. That's one thing I even use in my decision matrix. Anytime I go make a decision, propose the decision up to my VP, I give them three options because people just like things in threes because it's easy to
Mhm.
remember. And it's that same concept of why do you have 14 pillars? We don't need 14 pillars, big guy. We like no one's going to remember, oh, we have our capital investment, then we have our this, then we have our that. And that's why I think visions get lost, because if I'm looking at your pillars and I don't see a word or even a pillar that resonates with the work I do, I'm already not bought into anything that you're doing, because now you're forcing my brain to go work and figure it out and to dive deeper into what it is and try to find my way. And it's kind of like, nah, I'm good. Sounds cute, good for them. But if you can anchor it in those three pillars that really are inclusive to all of your audiences, that regardless if you're talking internally or externally, people can connect, I think you'll see a more alignment and I think you'll see it land better. And then as you're making business cases, you can always tie it back to a certain pillar. Well, if our pillar is AI, this is my business case, and I'm tying it back to the AI pillar of our mission, or this is our enrollment pillar. I'm tying this back to our enrollment pillar. But now everyone is starting to memorize the pillars because now they're tying their work to it. They're arguing for more funding around it. And then your external stakeholders, they get it too. If you were to say it to them, they understand it, even though they're not internal to the college.
Yeah. So your three pillars are creating UC fans, employee success, college and community engagement. Just unpack those briefly for me, and then I want to talk a little more specifically about creating UC fans. But tell me high level about your
Yeah.
three pillars.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with the last one since we'll end with creating UC fans a little bit. So when I first came in, went on a listening tour, and one of the things that I heard was, "Hey, Central Admissions, you all are not good at partnering. Like, y'all do things, y'all don't bring us along. We're always being told what to do." The community felt that way. The colleges felt that way. So I said, our priority is collaboration, because we can exist without the academic colleges and our campus partners in the community. So we need to come up with an engagement strategy for engaging with these stakeholders. So that was number one. And then employee success. I am obsessed with creating a high performing culture and creating a utopia. It's like I'm a millennial, I'm in a leadership role. We can make this a utopia. This does not have to be a division that people hate coming to and having to work at. But like, let's zone in on how do we make people happy? Because if people are happy, they do great work. So stop trying to force them to do great work and focus in on their experience. So I made it a priority. I put funding behind it. I hired a chief of staff. We're doing enablement, but culture is our number one priority. And my tagline is I want to make this the number one place to work. To your question around creating the UC fans and sort of where did that originate and where did that come from? It's because working with companies like Netflix and Disney and Google and even the Olympics, I got to get under their hood around fan engagement. And I became super obsessed with like, how is Cinderella so popular? All these generations later, people still love Cinderella. And Disney just makes you happy. If you hear the word, you smile. And even their experience, their customer service, and it's because they're obsessed with creating fans. It's not about someone simply just buying a product. It's about how do you make people fall in love with your brand. And when I was at UC, I was hearing the term, we want to be one UC. Yeah, we have three campuses, but we're one UC. We're one UC. And I'm like, but what does that really mean? And depending on who you ask, someone would say it means restaurant engagement. How do we better engage with our restaurants that are local to campus? Or if you ask an event person, they would say it means that when we market, we want to make sure everybody knows about all three campuses. If you ask faculty, they would say we just want people to know about our research. I was like, we're creating fans. We don't, it's not just about enrollment. If we can get more people to talk about UC, tweet about UC, like research, screenshot stuff, you're creating fans. And even if they never enroll, a fan will buy a t-shirt. A fan will tell your story to somebody who doesn't even know your story. And now you're building brand affinity at scale so that by the time that people do enroll and become an alumni, they're given money. I always give this example. When I graduated from Marshall University, they started building brand affinity in me when I was in the third grade. So I have this little ID picture that I even cut out, made me a Marshall ID. So from the third grade, I always knew I was going to go to Marshall. My experience was also they built loyalty to the point when I graduated and was only making $20,000 a year, I was sending these idiots $1,000 a month. And it's because of my obsession with like, yeah, you want me to support like the next person that to have a great experience? Absolutely. Even though I don't have any money, I want to send you my money because that's how engaged I am. And I had that vision here at UC of I just want to create people that love UC, regardless if they enroll, don't enroll. Let's get people excited about our brand and the work that we're doing. And let's lead to that. And by the ROI, short term and long term, will be increased enrollment or revenue just in general.
How did they engage you in the third grade? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so they sent one, they would always come to like elementary schools and drop off like gear, just random gear to give to students in the elementary school. So we would have little herd, like little Marshall M stickers. We would have the herd teddy bears that they would give us. And again, it's like a third grader seeing that logo so early, and then you're continuously seeing that logo. And then by the time I get to middle school, they're still coming and engaging, whether it's they're hosting, an athletic game for sixth graders, Marshall University's holding athletic game, or they're doing professional development with the high school counselors, and you just see all these people dressed up in green. They're putting it in front of your face in subtle ways that you don't even realize how you're getting connected. And again, by the time got to high school, I applied everywhere across the US. Like, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to apply everywhere. But because Marshall had that brand affinity, it didn't matter. Even though I got accepted everywhere, I was like, yep, I'm going to Huntington, West Virginia. I'm just going to go an hour. I'm going to go down to Marshall, and it is what it is. So, and we're also starting to get into that as well, what I call just a multi-generation recruitment plan. We have to
Hmm.
just stop focusing on eighth grade and up. How do we start to recruit at kindergarten? Literally, even if it is just a Bearcats buddy slingshot. I don't know. Just give them something that has the Bearcat ball on it that they can start to recognize the logo and the experience.
You guys need to sponsor Labubu. Have you seen those?
Ooh, I have. And you see, I'm writing that down because don't play with me because I'll be.
Yeah, my daughter got invited going, I don't know, next weekend or a couple weeks to a Labubu birthday party for her friend, and everyone's gonna get a
Mm.
Labubu in their little goodie bag. And she has told everybody, like, she cannot wait for this party. And she's like, guess what? Marlo's mama's gonna give us a Labubu. Because they're like, really, they're like, I don't know, $70 or something.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
they're the modern Beanie Baby, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's a serious matter with those. It's the new Prada bag for
Yeah,
the kids.
for sure. And one of the things that I thought was cool when I discovered you on the application podcast, you had told Allison something about, like, you're like going around the town and asking people if they had what was the question, if they had heard of UC or if they were a fan of UC. Tell me about that,
Yep.
because I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, so I sold my car like back in 2019 and I've been Uber since. So within my first 3 months of being here, I was probably in at least 200 Ubers between May to August. And I would always ask, "Hey, what do you know about UC?" And they would always say, "Nothing." Literally every single driver. And then when they would drop me off and see campus, they would be like, "Oh, this is really a college. Like y'all are doing some work over here. Like how can I learn more?" So I went back to the institution and I said, "I've done live customer research every day for 60 days about this city not being familiar with our brand." And I already felt that way because I've had people tell me they've came to Cincinnati for the Bengals game and the Reds game, FC Cincinnati, but they never knew the University of Cincinnati was actually located in Cincinnati. When you get off the airplane and you look in the Cincinnati airport, we're nowhere. It's all Ohio State and Miami. I'm like, guys, how are we supposed to literally have the city in our institution name, but we're not present nowhere throughout the community? And that's because, again, an echo chamber. Yeah, we're growing. That doesn't mean the community is growing with us. And that's what people would say, like, hey, UC is unattainable. And I'm like, that's not true. We're an access driven school. We are attainable. And that's what led to the big campaign that me and Allison was talking about was the Own in Our City initiative. Is I aligned a couple AVPs across the board. We aligned and we went to our chiefs and we said, hey, we want to own this city. And this is how we want to own it. We want to redo the airport. We want to come down, do more branding and more activations in the city. We want to show off campus more. Get behind this because we're losing our brand positioning. If we know other institutions have regional recruiters living in Cincinnati, we need to make sure no matter what road someone walks down, the bricks better be red until they get to Dayton. It's kind of like my mission.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. So I want to skip down to your point about hosting a campaign day. Getting back to our Apple event here, you talk about having your own Apple event. What does that look like for UC? What was the energy like when you've implemented that?
Yeah, so really the mind process behind it was how do we have our own version of a company kickoff? And what I mean by that is it's the launch of a new recruitment cycle, which in corporate terms, it's the launch of a new sales cycle. So the second part was like, well, what is our product and what are the big staples? Same concept for corporate. What are our big bets that we need the company to know to go run? Also, the conversation was how do we get people excited about the work? They don't want to hear about the demographic cliff. They don't want to hear about what's going on. Like, let's talk about impact. Let's talk about how they can become champions in helping us drive enrollment and drive student success. So, what we did was we brought together quite a few offices similar to Apple. We brought all the different experts and we said, these are all the hot topics that we need to make sure the campus understands. We're going to host a big event. We're going to provide them with breakfast and lunch because, everyone loves free food. And we're
Yep.
just going to invite the whole campus, and we're going to pretty much just be transparent. Here's where we're at. Here's where we're going. We had our VP, he released his vision. We had financial aid, student success, the registrar's office, academic advising, institutional research. Everybody in this keynote style is releasing sort of the high priority topics that are important for the campus to know and to get behind. We do a panel where the whole campus can ask us questions about how can they be champions. And then as our main keynote, we actually brought in the Chamber of Commerce that presented on how the University of Cincinnati is driving economic impact for the city of Cincinnati and how our institution has changed the face of Cincinnati. So for them to be able to hear that, they're excited and they're engaged. We gave them resources as well while they're there. Like, here are all the resources you need. Here are all the important dates. And then we did optional sessions as well. So once the main event was over, you could go learn how to be a recruiter. You could go learn what Bearcats for Life means. You could go learn what credit prior to credit learning plus means based off of your interest. So really this conference style company roll off, company kickoff, also professional development because people are learning and now they get it, right? And even from that, they were excited. We've been invited to more departmental meetings to present about how can my office or my department recruit better? How can we use Bearcats for Life better? How can we market better? Can you talk to me more about the scholarship gaps you see? But now that we've brought them into our work, they're actively engaging with our work versus sending out a long email saying, here's our recruitment plan for the year. Let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that seems like such a big investment. I mean, event planning is, it's a big thing, but I love that format of like, I think when people can learn from each other, there's like just so much of a richer work experience that happens when you
Yes.
can kind of expand your own knowledge of things. I used to work for a company, video production company, and we'd have a retreat every year, and they would ask us each to you'd have to present on something. You'd have like 20 or 30
Hmm.
minutes to present something. So everyone would pick something. I think I presented on like bad font choices. Like, here's all the fonts I'm sick of seeing.
You have to
So
tell me at least one. What's one of them that you're sick of seeing?
I I see papyrus everywhere, and I know it's the cliche because there's like a whole SNL skit about it. There's a city in Michigan called Saugatuck, and it's kind of like northwest sort of Michigan, and it's this little coastal town right on the water. And I swear it's like all these like boomers moved into this town and started little crafting businesses, and all were like got together and like, this is the font we're using. This is the Saugatuck font. It's all papyrus. It's like papyrus everywhere.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah, and I see this multiple times. There's a place by my house just at the corner. It's like a bakery, and their
Yeah.
entire sign outside is Comic Sans, and I'm like, seriously? I'm like, those are like papyrus and Comic Sans are like, if you have a
Yeah.
pulse, that everyone hates
Right.
those.
Yes. I'm curious, have you ever seen the Instagram skits of the girl who acts like all the fonts that are arguing in a group together?
Yes, I did see that.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that one I'm always just crack up because it's funny to like see the personality of the font play out on TVs, but that's what this was kind of reminding me of.
Yeah, I think she did another skit which was hilarious to me of like what happens when you press enter in a Word
Yeah.
document and like the whole thing just explodes. It's
Right.
like your formatting's all gone. So yeah, big campaign. Love that. The last point I wanted to mention was you talk in your post about building an interactive story hub. And I was doing some digging on UC's website and came across what I think it is that you're talking about. But this really got me interested. How have you guys implemented this story hub? What is the hope for, getting students to the site, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so actually the Story Hub, and hopefully you didn't get access to it because it should be behind a SOSSO,
Oh.
but the Story Hub is actually it's internal to all faculty and staff. And really the concept was, hey, now we're doing the activation. Do we end this activation with handing them all a PDF of a printed out recruitment plan and all of our documents? Or do we create something that lives that they can go instantly engage with in this moment? So, what we did was we created an interactive recruitment plan and we brought in the colleges, we brought in campus partners, and we designed this interactive sort of landing page that can walk anybody through all parts of what it means to recruit a new student, onboard a new student, get them in seat. It's live data. So, depending on your role, you can see the live data that you need to make decisions. You can see why data made some of our decisions that we made as well. So again, people can sort of go through it themselves and fill it, and we can update it in real time. And people can comment, they can like it, they can interact. But now the plan isn't just living on someone's shelf, but it's alive. If we have updates, we can go tell that story. When we want to celebrate a student or a milestone, we're doing it all within that interactive space so that everyone can see it. And I think like the last time I looked, we had over like 1,500 plus interactions. So not even just views, but people who are playing with the data, downloading it. Faculty loves it as well because they're like, thank you for putting this in simple terms for someone who doesn't work in recruitment. We understand the vision. We get it. We know why you're how you're making data driven decisions. We're seeing how we're trending in real time. And that was another thing. I am very different probably from all of my enrollment management counterparts. I say give everybody the damn data. I don't care
Yeah.
what story I don't care what they walk away thinking. Show them what we're looking at and provide context around this is what we're looking at. But why do we need to hide it? If they have a question, they'll come and ask us. If something's in the red, they'll come and ask us. I don't, give people the benefit of the doubt. We don't have to be the gatekeepers of data. And that was very new for this campus as well, because admissions would not give you nothing. They would just be like, hey, we're up by 5%, we're down by 5%. That's as much as you get. Where now they can see how we're trending on our targets, where recruiters are visiting. The heat map lights up if we're active there right now. They're seeing where we're engaging alumni. It's videos as well. Each director went and did a vision video. So you don't even got to read the plan. You can watch a 5-minute video. We kept the visions under 5 minutes as well. So, like, coming up with all of these different ways so that regardless of what type of learner you are or wherever you sit at the institution, there's a way for you to engage with this work. And we want you to engage with this work because we need you to help us accomplish these goals.
So that's all internal.
Yep. So it's all internal.
Okay,
So
cool.
that's why I was
What?
like, I hope you didn't see.
No, well, I googled University of Cincinnati Story Hub, and the first
Oh,
page that pops up is just one that says student stories. So this is probably something different. It's
but now I'm curious. Look, I'm like, I want to go check that out.
it actually led me down a rabbit hole because let's see, the one if you go on there and it says video, what is co-op really like beyond the classroom with 5 real UC students around the country, and then you have
Mm,
these 5 little profiles. And each one, it's just like a little simple write up. And then each one has their own like day in the life Instagram
yeah.
reel done by that
Nice.
student. And it's
Nice.
a collaborative post between UC and that student's profile. So you get both. I was like,
Nice.
this is a cool format because I'm like, you're offloading the video onto the student. It's very authentic. You don't have to write
Yep.
this huge long article. And it's
Yep.
just like quick hits. Like if I just want to
Yeah.
see like, oh, and you've structured it like, okay, beyond the classroom, computer science. And then you go down, it's like architecture. And then there's engineering.
Mm.
It's like, and you just get a little snippet, day in the life. I've been saying to schools, maybe I don't say it enough, but I think every department should have at least one day in the life. Like get one student that likes to create content and pay them
Yes.
to do a day in the
Yes.
life, and then
Yes.
host it on the landing page or something.
Yeah. And we're moving. I think I finally have us bought in because we have so many influencers, like literally new students that are coming, that are in our funnel who have more followers than the institution has.
Yeah.
across all of its social media. And I'm like, y'all, let's just repurpose their energy. Instead of them peeing off of buildings, let's use that to promote the institution. Like, let's lean in to the following. So we're going to be start getting real creative as well of like, what is a day in the life of applying? Or just, doing pop-ups where we're seeing students apply on the spot, but also just say, like, tell us what you're thinking right now. Like, what emotions are you feeling in this moment? But building and curating the content, the peer-to-peer content, which is also what we're doing. We're piloting that with our recruitment team as well. So we pay high school students to actually recruit for us in their high schools now. So
Hmm.
it's that same concept of like pay the influencer. Well, let's just pay the fan that's in the high school and they know all the people. Like just let them go recruit. So that's been really working good for us also.
Are they going like classroom to classroom, like Jehovah's Witnesses, just like knocking on
Yep,
doors?
pretty much. And they host beyond knocking on the classroom door. They also host programming twice a month for their peers to sort of get them excited about going to UC, answering questions. We train them throughout the summer. We train them as their rising seniors, and then they come here for 3 weeks, pretty much become a recruiter in 3 weeks, and then we're like, go out there. Only difference is they don't have a target, so no one relax. We're not pressuring high school students to hit a target.
Well, that's cool. That's a great idea. That's a great way to use, because the people respond to their peers. I mean, obviously, it's peer to peer.
Exactly.
So that's great. That's a really cool idea. Lastly, celebrate the wins is your last point on this post. That's one thing that, Apple does very well. They talk about where they've been and kind of acknowledging that and the success of that. And before they talk about where they're going, how has UC gone about communicating the momentum you're building to other stakeholders? And why is that important?
Yeah, so our team, my senior leadership team, we actually have a campus communication strategy. So around who communicates what, when, and to who, and what are we communicating? And we all have a cadence as well. So really a part of my communication strategy when I'm sending out a blast to the campus monthly, just around, hey, celebrating this department because they did X, Y, and Z. Hey, I'm celebrating this faculty because they showed off their research at a new student event. Here's the milestone that we're hitting so far. But we're literally over communicating throughout the full funnel about the wins that we're seeing that all, we do partner shout outs now where we spotlight a partner and how this partner is driving impact. And then even internally, we've gamified it more to just be like, yes, it's like, let's celebrate. Even though you feel like you got somebody a cup of coffee, ring the bell. Like that
Yeah.
person's life is a lot better. And it's funny because I was telling my staff, and I don't know why I did this, but the first day of class, and I wasn't even thinking that it was the first day of class, but I went outside to go meditate. And of course, I had on my polo, and like 16 freshmen came up to me and were like, hey, we're lost. And I was like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be meditating right now, but I'm lost too. This campus is huge. But in that moment, it became about them and me helping them. And I walked all of them, to their classes. We found their classes together. I got a extended campus tour, so I learned about some new places on campus. But to me, that was the win for the day. If I could help 16 people by just getting them to their classroom, which is going to help them be better people, let's celebrate that win. So really just getting people in the mindset of let's win, let's celebrate it, but let's communicate to all stakeholders. So our CRM team, they communicate to CRM folks at campus. Our academic college team, they're talking to the colleges. I'm managing up to the whole campus and making sure the VP and the cabinet knows the wins. But we're treating campus like they're our consumer when it comes to communication. And it's not just an update philosophy, but it's really what behavior are we trying to drive and how are we inching people closer to our goals? And then lastly, celebrating the win operationalize and manifests as the vision because now people are like, yes, UC fans for the win. Yes,
Yeah.
employee success for the win. So like now they're shouting out your pillars. And it's a part of that, like, let them celebrate people in the vision. And the more we celebrate people, the more they'll continue to strive and let people run so they can go win and have something to celebrate as well.
Because if you don't stop and celebrate how far you've come, I think it can just lead to just burnout. I mean, I've been in
Yep.
a previous job where we would just be hustling on deadlines and project after project, and even the owner of the company was hustling too. So everyone's just got their heads down. And I told my boss, I was like, at some point we should like come up for air and like be like, hey, let's go grab a drink or something and be like, hey,
Yeah.
we did it.
Yeah.
We got through that one tough client or whatever it is, because it's like when you don't pay attention, when you don't make celebrating the wins intentional, then the reward that everyone gets for trying really hard is just the next thing on a never ending task list.
Yes. Seriously. And another way to operationalize it, just as an idea, is we have a standardized one-on-one agenda template for our division. And the way every first meeting starts off with, well, what are the three wins that your team has witnessed today or just this week? And that also has helped us make sure we're managing up, because if you're telling your supervisor the win, and then they're about to come meet with me and I'm asking, well, tell me what the wins are. So now I know, and even in the spaces I'm in, again, shouting people out. So they'll come to an event and the vice provost is like, I want to give a shout out to operations. And they're like, I didn't know he knew that I did that thing. And it's like, yeah, he knows, because we're making sure we're managing up so everybody knows and creating space to talk about wins intentionally so that it's not an afterthought.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. And just getting everyone excited, and, once someone sees their name, and it's like, ooh, I want to do that again.
Yep.
So what would be, I mean, just give us a final thought, put a bow on this post that you made that got you a spot on this show, which doesn't mean much, but
It means a lot. It's a win. I will celebrate this win. I think what I'm stressing, and I even shared this yesterday, what makes me nervous is, and this is tough for people to swallow, but if industry decided tomorrow there was no longer value to higher ed, each corporation could go to market overnight and steal our students and skill our students up, and we would be looking how we're looking, shutting down. So I do think higher ed, when I think about COVID disrupted, that was a market disruption. I think we're at another education disruption now. And I know a lot of people are like, no, we've seen this before. It's all going to get better. It's not. This is a competitive market. And if we don't start to adopt some of the plays from corporations and from industry, even around partnership engagement, I think institutions are going to start to see their doors shut. So as creative as you can, just step out of your box. We're not saying kill tradition. We're just saying reimagine tradition. Just a little bit, even if it's 1% of a reimagine. Let people be creative. Go after your market. You can't be passive. We got to be aggressive, and we got to get creative with how we're going after this market also. So that's sort of like my stake that I'm holding everywhere. I'm like, we got to win this market collectively, or we're going to lose.
that's awesome. Dude, I love your energy. This has been such a fun conversation. Where can people connect with you at if they want to
Yeah.
follow your LinkedIn content or whatever else?
Yep. So they can follow me on LinkedIn, or they can Google the excellencefactory.com as well. And that's where we talk about a lot of the work that we do at my startup, which is all about, as you see, getting people to be action biased. We have the ideas. It's the action and alignment where most ideas fall. So I love this type of work. And anybody who has a new idea, let's talk.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to check that out after this episode. Well, thanks for being here, man. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. 3 things I want to invite you to before you go. Number 1, if you want to know what's working right now in higher ed video, like what videos are getting tons of views, likes, comments, all that, you can get ungated access to our report, aptly named What's Working in Higher Ed Video, a comprehensive guide for higher ed Marcom leaders and content creators. So check it out at unveiled.tv/higheredvideo, and you might want to bookmark it because it's designed to be a resource for you that you can keep referring back to for inspiration. Number 2, reminder to sign up for my free newsletter all about content creation and strategy at unveiled.tv/newsletter. And number 3, follow me on LinkedIn. If you're searching for me, my name is John Azzoni. It's spelled Johnazoni. I'm on there all day, every day, for better or for worse, posting regular content and engaging with folks like you. So I'd love to connect with you on there. And with that, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Higher Ed Storytelling University podcast. And as always, I am cheering you on. Okay, bye.